How are we doing, everybody? All right, let's just get this over with. I was going to try to watch Game 4 last night, but stuff happened, and I let it go at that. Anyway, I did get text messages from my father and my buddy Canuck, who were at the game. They didn't go to the game together; they just happened to go to the game. By the way, props to my father, who's volunteering for the Red Cross right now, taking care of the people affected by the mudslides in Oso, Washington. So his hotel is actually right next to the Comcast Arena, so he got a free ticket to the game and he went. And based on their text messages I got last night, it was a complete annihilation. Everett came out and just never looked back. I don't know if I said this on camera, but I do remember saying after game 1 to my friend Canuck that it's only a matter of time when Everett explodes for a rampage of goals, just because of the way that they were playing, out shooting Seattle, for the entire series. At one point, there was a 2-1 ratio. I don't know if that's correct anymore, but going into game 3, there was around a 2-1 ratio in terms of shots favoring Everett. Terran Kozin, the goaltender for Seattle, was playing out of his mind, and T-Birds ended up stealing a couple of games in the series to get up to 3-0 lead. But so I kind of saw this coming eventually. I was kind of hoping that it would be a sweep. We don't have to worry about it. We can rest up, hopefully go the next round. But I mean, it's the playoffs and it's Everett versus Seattle. So I mean, maybe I got a little ahead of myself. So Everett ends up winning 6-1 over the Seattle Thunderbirds. I'll go over the scoring for you. Everett scores about a minute and a half into the first period as Jahar Chara. If I mispronounced that, Canuck, help me out. I know I was having a difficult time pronouncing Ivan Nicolishin before, so let me know if that is correct. Everett's got some weird names. I'll just say that. I mean, it's not like Seattle where they got Adam Henry, Sam McKetney, Calvin Spencer. I mean, like, hey, those are good names to pronounce. Everett's got some funky names. All right, so anyway, Jahar gets his first of the playoffs assist go to Nicolishin and Braden Lowe. And then short-handed, the Everett Silvertips drew a penalty, the first period for the first penalty of the game, and the T-Birds gave up the first short-handed goal of the series as Josh Winquist with assists from Hayer, from Manraj Hayer, gets the Tips a 2-goal lead. Not good. It's only a matter of time when Josh Winquist got on the board at some point. Guy is top prospect in the WHL. Still in the first period, about 5 minutes later, Braden Lowe gets his first goal of the playoffs. Assists go to Jahar and Nicolishin at the 7:57 mark. So Everett ends up taking a 3-0 lead going into the second period. Didn't see the game. Don't know necessarily how it went because like I said, I missed out on it. But Seattle was able to get on the board, cut the deficit to 2 as Jared Hoff gets his first goal of the playoffs at the 18:22 mark. I would assume giving the Birds a little bit of momentum. Assists coming from Ryan Gropp and Matthew Barzal, the person who scored the game-winning goal in Game 3 in overtime. So it was 3-1, but unfortunately that was the only goal by the T-Birds as Everett lights up. He's scoring 3 goals in the first 48 minutes of the third period as Jahar gets his second goal on the power play at 3:30. Then he got his hat trick on the power play 2 minutes later. And then after that, the Tips finished off the T-Birds with a goal by Carson Statnick. His second of the playoffs. Assists go to Josh Winquist and Ben Belker. So, and that was it. And Terran Kozin was pulled from the game. Danny Muma, the backup goaltender, or there's not really backup goaltenders in the Western Hockey League because each team basically tries to give at least the T-Birds, with the exception of maybe Calvin Pickard a couple years ago, But for the most part, the T-Birds have a history going throughout the season, switching their goaltenders and getting a good, solid, solid playing time. But Danny Muma comes in and plays the remaining 13 minutes and 12 seconds of the game, and is 5 for 5 in shots. So props to Muma coming in and finally shutting the door. Power plays, Seattle was 0 for 4 on the power play, again giving up a shorthanded goal. The Everett Silvertips were 2 for 6. That's a concerning stat because if their power play is starting to wake up, that is definitely going to be tough signs for the T-Birds. Shots on goal were Everett's favor, 34 to 18. That also included Everett outshooting Seattle in the first period, 11 to 4 and 12 to 4 in the third. The Tips just were not ready to go home yet. Looking at the goaltending, Austin Lotz, the goaltender for the Silvertips, gets his first playoff win of the season. He is now 1-3. He stopped 17 for 18 shots. Taran Kozin takes his first loss, now 3-1. Stops 23 of 29 shots, and again, Danny Muma comes in and was 5 for 5 coming off the bench. So tonight will be Game 5, and not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous because I know the T-Birds are up 3-1, and I know technically they have the home ice advantage, but the T-Birds were up 3-0 last year, and they blew the series. So now, in the last 2 years, the T-Birds are 0-5 in series-clinching games. A little bit of deja vu, yeah, but the good thing is we got, unlike last year, we do have 2 games at Showware compared to 2 games in Everett, so hopefully that will help. I don't think it will. And the majority of there's a good portion of this team that was on last year's team. So, little nervous. But Game 5 is tonight. It's Saturday. If the Seattle wins, Seattle clinches the series. And if Everett wins, Game 6 will be on Monday. I'm unfortunately going to miss Game 5. But I will be checking it on my phone and hoping that my next recap, instead of talking about how the Tips are making a series out of it, we're talking about a T-Birds victory. Although, if the Tips do win, at least Canuck and I can get our wish and say that at least it was a competitive series. Because it wasn't a competitive series, for the first 3 games. It wasn't. So we'll talk to you later. Again, Everett wins Game 4, 6-1 over the Seattle Thunderbirds. And the Thunderbirds still lead the series 3-1. Hopefully we can clinch it at Showware Center tonight. I really don't want to go back to Everett for Game 6. I really don't. I mean, I don't want to experience giving up a 3-0 lead 2 years in a row. I mean, that's just, you want to talk about devastation. I mean, that's pretty low. That's pretty low. So, all right, go Birds, and let's go after the Tips in Game 6. Talk to you later.